What is up, everybody? This is Jage Larson with Team Rankstar here with this week's Rankstar review. I am here with Aphelion and the Week 4 qualifier winner, Karakondzhul. How are you both doing today?
I'm not too bad. Thank you.
Good. Whoa.
Awesome.
Also doing very well. Again, my name is Aphelion. I'm one of the co-hosts for Rankstar Review and the owner of Team Rankstar. This is kind of our weekly go over the events of last week. And like Jade just said, we had last week's qualifier winner. Karak, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. So my name is pronounced Karakondzhul, and my real name is Ilya. I'm from Bulgaria, 24 years old. I just graduated from university. So now I'm just in the middle of looking for jobs, and so I'll have to start doing that soon, probably after the qualifiers. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Very cool. Let's see. So you said you are where are you currently in the world?
I'm in Singapore right now. Just taking some time to travel after the degree. I did a degree in computer engineering. It's a very, very difficult degree. It took me like 5 years of my life. So I just want to take it a bit slow, have a bit of vacation before jumping into the job.
I can imagine. Yeah. So first question here, getting into the questions about the card games. When did you actually start playing card games?
Well, the first card game I played was Yu-Gi-Oh, the Konami version, but that was like way back in time. I was really, really young. After that, I didn't really play card games for a while until Hearthstone came along, and I started playing Hearthstone. I started playing Hearthstone when it just got released from the beta. I did that for a couple of years, and after that I switched to the Elder Scrolls Legends, and that's pretty much all my experience with card games.
Out of curiosity, totally, in regards to that question, what was your favorite Hearthstone deck?
My favorite Hearthstone deck, it was the Miracle Rogue. I love Miracle Rogue. It got nerfed very, very heavily, but it was very, very fun to play.
Yeah, I hear it's still pretty popular. I hear it's still pretty popular to this day. I haven't played Hearthstone in a little while, but last time I looked, it was still definitely a thing. And you kind of touched on this, but when did you say you started playing Tesso? Like, was it like during closed beta? Was it during early open?
So Tesso, it's maybe a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't actually know the full beta timeline. When were we at a beta?
Right about, I was just about to ask, right around that time, that would have been before Skyrim but after beta, right?
No. So I was, when I started playing the Elder Scrolls, it was still in beta.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe a year and a half ago, there were no expansions yet. Everyone was waiting for the new expansion, and there was a lot of Atromancers in the meta, and then I came along, started playing some Scout, and popularized it. So yeah.
And then it just
you're
got
to blame.
You're to blame for all this craziness. And then when DV, the Drain Vitality, came out, it just went out of control, right?
Yeah. So pretty much what happened is Scout didn't see almost no play, and when I started being a new player, I received from the awards from leveling up, I received some Ram Scout cards. So I said, okay, so this is what I'm gonna play. And yeah, it turned out to be really, really good. I got into the top legend ranks. I got top 1 for a short while. The first month that I got to legend, I finished second. Yeah, so people saw that Scout could be a good deck, and some other people started trying it out, and yeah, but it definitely wasn't as popular as it was with the Shout version.
Cool. And so would it be fair to say that Scout is your favorite color house combination, or do you have a more favorite individual color house combination?
Well, it used to be. I like to play decks that are not very popular, and Scout was a very unpopular deck back in the days. Right now, well, before the nerfs that we saw this week, it was an extremely popular deck, and I just don't enjoy playing something that you see like so much on ladder. So I stopped playing Scout for a short while. Right now, I enjoy like those fast, aggressive mid-range decks. So like Warrior or Redoram. So, yeah, Cloud is quite fun as well.
Yeah, Lalu's definitely been very popular. Although I have seen actually a pretty, and granted I'm in a much lower level, but I've seen a lot more Redoran on ladder since the nerfs. So I don't know if that's like indicative of the format as a whole, but I'm interested to see like where Redoran finds itself, because we only saw a couple of Redoran decks over the course of the Masters qualifiers. So I really hope that that gets a chance to get developed. But what is the card that you think is the most overrated, and what is the card that you think is the most underrated?
The most overrated card and underrated, right? I think the most overrated has to be Saltier. Like I see like so many people complaining about Saltier and saying oh how OP it is, but it's just such a bad tempo play. The only reason that Saltier is playable, in my opinion, is because of Giant Bat. Like if there was no Giant Bat, like Saltier would be absolutely unplayable. And
Or
then you combine it
Parthenax
with
too,
the Word
right?
Walls. Sorry?
Or Parthenax, right? So Giant Bat definitely. What
Yeah.
about, and also Parthenax is the other main target for Solitaire.
Yeah, you can do Parthenax loops, yeah. But yeah, I think that with the Vitality nerf, I think Saltier will go back like significantly, like we reduced play. Um, so yeah. And as far as the most underrated card, uh, that's a difficult question. The most underrated. I really like Market Bannerman. It doesn't see that much play, but it's a card that has to be answered. Like there is a lot of value. Like even though the opponent usually has an answer, if you manage to establish a board like by turn 4, and then you play a Bannerman, the opponent can no longer answer your board. He has to answer the Bannerman, and there is a lot of value in that. So yeah, I know that it doesn't see that much play right now, but I think it definitely has potential, and there are a lot of really cool combos that you can pull off with the fire bands that you get from his effect.
Yeah,
Awesome.
definitely.
Yeah, definitely agree. So, on to our next question here. So, how do you define, or can you define success for us, and how do you measure it?
So in TESO success, I think it's a combination of things. I think like you have to do well on ladder. But well, it doesn't mean like top 1 or top 10. Like I think like if you want to be good, you have to be able to hit like legend in the top 100 or something. So I think that most of the players who end up winning tournaments, like they are able to hit a top 100 on ladder as well. It's not like a cost causation effect, but if you can do well on ladder, it's usually indicative that you can do well in tournaments. And then obviously the tournament play. It's very different format from ladder, and there is definitely a lot more things going on. There are some players who do really well on ladder, but not as well on tournaments, and there are some players who consistently pull off really good tournament results, and on ladder they don't really care about it that much. So I think definitely the out of the two tournament play is a lot more difficult. And I think this is where like someone can really shine and show that he's good at the game.
As one of the like sort of innovators and or people who popularized this modern scout list, do you like take pride in that? Is that something that you're like excited that you had a hand in, or is that something that you're like, I wish people didn't know about that?
Yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed playing Scout. I definitely enjoyed like having me about my by my list and uploading it and like people like being part of something that people are really excited about. Like I was known as the Ram Scout player back when Ram Scout was not as popular. So yeah, definitely take some pride in that. In the more recent versions with the uh, like with the shouts and drain vitality and the necromancers, I don't want to take too much credit in that because I don't think that I played a very important role in creating like the very refined lists. I just didn't spend that much time in there. But
Cool.
back in the days when for the Ram Scout, I definitely enjoyed doing that.
That's
Totally.
that's totally awesome. So we were kind of touching on this a little bit while we were setting up and everything for recording today. So can you tell everyone who may not know, where was it you were playing during the qualifiers? There were some interesting places that you were playing some of these matches, right?
Right. So I'm in Singapore right now, and I've been in Singapore for the last three qualifiers. The first qualifier I was actually back home, and it was the one that I did the worst. So in Singapore, the time zone for the qualifiers is between midnight and 6 a.m. So I have to stay up the whole night in order to play in them, especially if I want to get top eight. And yeah, like in some of the qualifiers, like I just didn't have access to a laptop, so I had to play on my phone. In one of them, I had to play at the airport. I had like a flight to Thailand at 6:30. And then I had to play super tanks in the final, like the round of eight qualifier on Saturday for like 5:30. So at the airport, like I was staying at my gate. So yeah, like it was very hectic. Like I'm on my phone and I have to do the check-in, the bags, and people around me being annoyed with me. But yeah, I managed to win this match. So yeah, I'm really happy about this. And then the next day, I went to Thailand. It's very difficult to play the game while we were traveling. Like I didn't have any sleep, and it probably shows in my place as well. So that was the match where I played against Santos Vela. I'm not very happy about my performance, but considering that I only had like an hour and a half or two sleep in the plane, I think that's understandable. So yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
crazy because I think you posted about it on Reddit and I responded to you. It's like I can barely sit in the comfort of my computer room and like easily play against people. I can't imagine you playing mobile. Then you have to worry about disconnects potentially giving you a DQ, like
Yeah.
all that extra
Right.
stress. That's some talent. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Oh yeah. Disconnects happen. You just have to log in really quickly in the game and try to think of the turn like in 10 seconds because you see the rope coming down. So yeah, it's definitely not ideal. If I have the option, I would always pick a laptop. But like if you want to play the tournament, it's what you gotta do, right?
Yeah, you got to roll with the punches. I just can't even imagine playing against some of the best players in the world and having to worry about your bags and worry about getting your seat. That's pretty crazy. But what is an unpopular opinion that you have in Tessel, or what is like something that maybe people don't necessarily agree with you on? Like, do
Okay.
you still
That's
think spell sword's super good? Do you really like the Manticore nerf? Do you think it was really healthy?
No, I don't think Spell Sword is good. And the Manticore nerf, I can understand it. I can understand why they nerf Manticore. So maybe an unpopular opinion is something that I'm really known for is if you look at my deck lists, I have a lot of one-offs and two-offs. Usually people want to include all three copies of a card. Like most of the people value consistency, and it is something that people sometimes make fun of me for. But I think there is a lot of value in adding like just one or two copies of a card in your deck. It just gives you more flexibility, especially if it's like a tech card that you don't really want to draw every game, but if you draw it, you are happy. So this is something that you don't you don't like want to consistently draw like maybe 2 or 3 copies in a game. Like you obviously put only 1 copy, right? So maybe that is something that I'm known for.
Totally. So let's see. Jay, do you want to take the next one?
Yeah, so prior to this week, we've been asking everybody their opinion on the current meta. I know we're only a few days in, like we could technically say that there's going to be a new meta with these changes that just came on the recent balance patch. So the vocal portion of the community was very clear in saying it's negative and it's stale. So now what is your opinion of that meta? And I would like actually think that we want to ask this from a competitive side. That's more so what we do here. So like the ladder and the competitive scene are very different in terms of how you create your decks. If you could answer that for us.
Yeah, right. Well, it definitely was a bit stale in the qualifiers. Like I was seeing the same decks over and over again. There was always the Telvanni, there was always Scout. Klau is usually up there. Like actually, I think Scout and Telvanni were more popular than Klau, which surprised me. But those 3 decks were like all over the place. Like if you look at the stats, like it would be something ridiculous. And so I think that is why I did so well, because I brought a lineup that it doesn't auto-win against Scout and Telvanni because it's just impossible to auto-win against them. They're just so good and refined deck list, but it is a lineup that has a really, really good chance against them. And I managed to win 3 games against Scout quite a few times. So like just winning on the back that someone brought a Scout to the tournament. So that happened quite a few times. So that is like it allows you to target, like when you know that the deck is so popular, it gives you the option to target such a deck, so you can really get an edge. But you have to, of course, the pressure is on you to be creative and to actually think of ways to target a deck that is so good and so refined, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I definitely prefer tournaments where people see like more creative and diverse lineups,
Yeah, those are like the warp metas. I feel like I've seen a lot of people bring, and it's kind of lower stakes. Like this is obviously the highest, caliber tournament or whatever we've had up until this point, or subjectively. But I think, going forward, I would expect to see a little bit more experimentation, especially in the smaller tournaments, which I'm really excited for. One of the things that is, or that kind of I guess relate to that, or what do you think about timers and competitive? Like, what's your opinion on timers? Does it affect strategies? Like, do you think if timers are enabled, people bring faster decks or more aggressive decks, or do you think it makes a difference?
I don't think that being aggressive gives you an edge as far as timers. Like there are some decks like Leaf Water OTK that benefit from the lack of timer, or the Nixox decks that they were popular until the Nixox nerf. But as a whole, that's only a small, like very, very small portion of combo decks that just they just need like a very long time in order to play lots and lots of cards. And it's just not possible with a timer. But like for regular decks, like the kind of decks that we see, like I think timer is definitely something that is beneficial. I usually don't use up my timer. Like I only use it maybe like once a game, like when I have a particularly difficult turn, and you have to really think through it. So I think the timer is benefit. Like there is value in finding the correct play quickly, and it also improves from a viewer standpoint. It's not very fun, like just to watch like someone thinking through his turn for 5 minutes, right?
Oh, sure.
Right.
Yeah. So
it's been interesting kind of the past couple of weeks seeing like the Nixox decks, because they are one of those decks that you kind of require all of your turn in order to like adequately take. So it really, I really like watching them only because it doesn't because it doesn't allow you to just sit and tank. Like, you really have to be very decisive and like sort of take action. And like, for example, watching Hack Me play on his stream or our stream, you know, he very quickly identifies the line he wants to take and then goes with it, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I have to agree. Like, you know, there are some situations where there's people trying out new things, which is great. It's awesome to see people trying out new things, but you know, there does have to be a limit on on just how much you're trying. Like, to Aphilion's point, there's some people who have these complex decks. They know what they're looking at. They see it a turn before it happens, and they know where they're going with it. So thank you for giving us your opinion on that. So we have one more question here. We really, I don't think we've actually got to ask this question yet, but we're kind of like feeling out for the future, right? So a themed pro scene by release block. So where there's tournament rules, where there's card bans, or there's whole entire releases banned. What do you think about that kind of a tournament?
Tournament with bans. I think it's a really good idea. Like, the more diverse tournaments we have, it will really help like people, like the different skill set, for people to develop a different skill set that we really haven't seen. So right now people have to think about, oh, what's popular on ladder. That is what people will bring on the tournament. So maybe if I play ladder, I'll get like a good feel of what will the tournament will look like. But if we have like something with bans, like something that's different format from ladder, that then the preparation for the tournament becomes a lot more challenging and a lot more difficult. So it really enables you to shine. So the more preparation you have to do, the more the skill. I think like the individual skill actually matters. So yeah, it's definitely something that I'll be looking forward to.
Definitely. Well, that's all the official questions that we have. Thank you for taking the time to sit and chat with us. Thanks for working with our schedule and everything. Again, my name is Aphelion, one of Team Rankstar. We're trying to do these semi-weekly videos on just the happenings of the Test Legends scene. So please tune in. If you like what you saw, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, you know, Twitter, that sort of thing.
All right, and again, thank you so much for spending the time with us. My name is Jage for Team Rankstar content team. We appreciate you watching us. You have yourself a wonderful night. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.